Je donne la parole au représentant de l'Indonésie.
Mr. President, Indonesia would like to exercise our right of reply to the statements delivered by Solomon Islands and Vanuatu, echoed by Nauru, Marshall Islands, Tuvalu, and Tonga regarding matters concerning Papua, a province of Indonesia. Indonesia is shocked to hear that at this important stage, where leaders gather in this august body to address the early implementation of SDGs, the transformation of our collective actions, and other global challenges such as climate change, of which the Pacific countries are affected the most, the state leaders chose instead to violate the UN Charter by interfering in other countries' sovereignty and violating its territorial integrity. We categorically reject the continuing insinuations in their statements. They clearly reflect an unfortunate lack of understanding of the history, current situation, and progressive developments in Indonesia, including in the provinces of Papua and West Papua, and also an unfriendly and rhetoric political maneuver. Their politically motivated statements were designed to support separatist groups in the said provinces who have consistently engaged in inciting public disorder and in conducting armed terrorist attacks upon civilians and security personnel. Evidently, the statement made by those countries clearly violates the purposes and objectives of the UN Charter and the principle of international law on friendly relations among states, as well as the sovereignty and territorial integrity of states. I repeat, it is a violation of sovereignty and territorial integrity of states. It is highly regrettable and dangerous for states to misuse the United Nations, including this August Assembly. These countries are using the General Assembly to advance their domestic agenda and for some countries to divert attention from political and social problems at home. The said countries are also using false and fabricated information as the basis of their statement. The conducts of these countries undermine the UN Charter and are detrimental to the credibility of this Assembly. Mr. President, Indonesia's commitment to protection of human rights is unquestionable. Indonesia is a founding member of the Human Rights Council. Indonesia has sat as member of the Council for 3 previous periods and is currently a member of the Council for the 4th time. Indonesia is the initiator of the ASEAN Intergovernmental Commission on Human Rights and OIC Independent Permanent Commission of Human Rights. Indonesia has ratified 8 out of 9 core international human rights instruments, all incorporated into our national legal system. In compared, 4 by Solomon Islands and 5 by Vanuatu. Indonesia is among few countries who have a continued national action plan on human rights and currently is on its 4th generation of the plan from 2015 to 2019. Indonesia has an active and robust National Commission on Human Rights since 1993, vibrant civil society and free media. Indonesia is also a country with full-fledged democracy in function. With such a vibrant national democracy, coupled with the highest commitment to the promotion and protection of human rights at all levels, it would be nearly impossible for any human rights allegations to go unnoticed and unscrutinized. Mr. President, we reaffirm that there are domestic mechanisms in place at the national level in Indonesia as well as at the provincial level in Papua and West Papua. For our part, Indonesia will continue to give appropriate focus to the development of Papua and West Papua provinces, and to the best interest of all. In conclusion, Mr. President, we have a saying in our Asia-Pacific region: when one points the index finger to others, the thumb finger automatically points to one's own face. I thank you.
Je vous remercie.
I call on the representative of Indonesia.
Madam President, I'm taking the floor to exercise Indonesia's right of reply to the statement made by Vanuatu. It is shameful that this single country continues to have excessive and unhealthy obsession about how Indonesia should act or govern itself. Frankly speaking, I'm confused. How could a country try to teach others while missing the point of the whole fundamental principles of the United Nations Charter? Let me tell them the following. To do what is right is to respect the principles of non-interference in the domestic affairs of other countries. And to do what is right, it is to respect the sovereignty and territorial integrity of other countries. So until you have done so, please keep the sermon to yourself. Madam President, the President of Indonesia stated a few days ago in this great hall of nations, and I quote, "We must promote a win-win approach in building relations among states that is mutually beneficial," unquote. Indeed, such a call was echoed by world leaders throughout this permanent week. But this ignorant country chooses the contrary. At times of an emergency health crisis and great economic adversity, it prefers to instill enmity and sow division by guising their advocacy for separatism with flowery human rights concern. Indonesia, comprising of more than hundreds of ethnic groups, a diverse and multicultural nation with thousands of tribes and hundreds of local languages, spreading across more than 17,400 islands, is committed to human rights. We value diversity, we respect tolerance, and everybody has the same right in this third largest democratic country in the world. We have also promoted and protected human rights where each individual has the same rights under the law. Furthermore, we have ratified the International Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Racial Discrimination, while interestingly, Vanuatu has not even signed it. And how could one talk about promoting the right of indigenous people when it does not even sign the International Covenant on Economic, Social, and Cultural Rights, the core human rights instrument? This actually raises the question, do they really care about indigenous concern? More importantly, Vanuatu has not signed and ratified the Convention Against Torture and Other Cruel, Inhuman, or Degrading Treatment or punishment. We call on the government of Vanuatu to please fulfill your human rights responsibility to your people and to the world. Madam President, the accusation of human rights is typical, a tall tale that they sell and stage over the years in the hall. Let me tell them, you are no representation of the people of Papua, and stop fantasizing of being one. Papuans are Indonesians. All of us play an important role in the development of Indonesia, including on the island of Papua. Madam President, the principles of the UN Charter, which Vanuatu clearly does not seem to understand, stipulates the respect for sovereignty and territorial integrity. Indonesia will defend itself against any continuing advocacy of separatism conveyed under the guise of artificial human rights concern. The provinces of Papua and West Papua are irrevocable parts of Indonesia since 1945. It has also been firmly endorsed by the United Nations and the international community decades ago. It is final, irreversible, and permanent. I thank you, Madam President.